Good take or deep reach.
And we're back with another edition of Good Take or Deep Reach. It's Dan Riccio and Randip Janda. And the Canucks are seeing their season turn around a little bit. I know it's going to take a monumental task for them to get back into the playoffs and that conversation. But honestly, why not? The Canucks can still make the playoffs. Good take or deep reach, Randip?
That's a deep reach, Dan. Come on, man. What are you putting in your coffee today? Okay, this is a deep reach based on the fact that they had such a terrible February, 2-9-1, where the rest of the Canadian division, the playoff teams, were trending in the right direction. And this team, now forget about the past to a certain degree, because yes, the Canucks are on the upswing now. What do they need to do to make the playoffs? They need to go 18-6-1 to get to 63 points, which is not even guaranteeing a playoff spot. Essentially, Reach, they got to do a win 2 out of every 3 games that they play. Does that sound realistic to you? To me, it doesn't.
Okay, I get it, Randip. You want to be sensible about the whole conversation. Sure, that makes a lot of sense to do. It is very sensible. It is very logical. You like to take the safe route. I get it. But what is sensible about the NHL? What is sensible about the NHL, especially in 2021? This wouldn't even be the biggest comeback of the last 10 years. The 2019 Blues. What about the 2015 Senators and their run into getting into the Stanley Cup playoffs? Or are you just gonna, forget those things and try to make up your own revisionist history?
Whoa, hold on. You referenced the St. Louis Blues, the Stanley Cup winning St. Louis Blues, who I have to add were a pretty good team. After the fact, they've shown us that wasn't a fluke. The Ottawa Senators, okay, if you want to make comparisons, the Ottawa Senators never recovered from that. They were never that good to begin with. That was a fluke run, and they weren't able to replicate that. So if you're talking about once-in-a-lifetime runs, the Canucks, they're not supposed to happen. That's why they're once-in-a-lifetime. The Canucks doing that, you know how rare that is? You know how rare that Ottawa Senators run was? If you're looking for tangible comparisons, Ottawa's not the one I would pick, Dan, because that one was so rare to begin with.
I live day by day, just like Jim Benning. Okay, this is how we do it here, and this Canucks team can still pull this off. Why can't they do it, Randy? Tell me why. They have all of the elements that you would need to go on a hot streak. I know they haven't shown it a lot this year, but they've got those elements, and they've got the biggest element. You talk about the Sens. Okay, the Sens were .500 when they put Andrew Hammond, yes, the Hamburglar, in net that year. That was 54 games into the season, so they didn't even have a ton of runway. And then Hammond goes on the run of all runs, 20 wins and I think 3 losses, 2 of those in the shootouts, as the Senators get into the playoffs that season. Then there's the Blues. The Blues, they were the worst team in the league on January 1st, 2019. In steps Jordan Binnington, and they go on a 30-10-5 record. They had one big 11-game win streak in that time. Why is that any different from the Canucks? The other element that we're seeing with Vancouver in 2021, Thatcher Demko. Bubble Demko is back. No, he's just Thatcher Demko now, okay? He's played his last 15 games with a .930 save percentage. This can happen, Randip. Get on board.
Thatcher Demko's been great. .969 save percentage in the last little bit. That's great, Dan. But here's the problem. You just cited the most extreme examples in NHL history. You know all the other sample size? It's of teams that didn't work. And the Canucks, they won 4 of the last 5. Great. Their team game is better. That's great. Here's the problem. They're playing within the division, all games within the division. So if you beat Montreal in overtime, guess what? Montreal's picking up a point. You get a win as the Canucks, but you also give up a point, which hurts you in the standings. That's a problem. And that's something that those teams you reference didn't really have to deal with. They're playing out of division games where it didn't matter. Out of conference games, it didn't matter. This year, first of all, to go on that sort of run is going to be tough. At Hockey Night Punjabi, we call it Kado Jamado. It's do or die. Every single game for the Canucks this going forward now is do or die, and you can't give up points. Whereas this year, they're going to probably give up a few overtime points. They might win some in overtime. They might lose. Other teams like the St. Louis Blues, like the Ottawa Senators you referenced, I think kind of foolishly, didn't have to deal with that.
You're forgetting that the quality of competition is a reason that this can happen, okay? Like the Canadian division, outside of the Leafs, who, by the way, the Canucks just handed their first consecutive losses of the season because of how good Thatcher Demko has been and the fact that they are starting to play a little bit better than they were earlier in the season. But the Canadian division is not all that great. You have a lot of mediocrity beyond the Leafs in this division. It gives the Canucks even more of a chance to break this out. You know, the Canadian division beyond the Leafs is kind of like, you know, it's broccoli and chicken breast. It's kind of bland. It's mediocre. It's kind of healthy, but it's not really spicing your life up all that much. That's what this Canadian division is right now. It is not all that great beyond the Maple Leafs. That gives the Canucks every opportunity to get back in this. Winnipeg, overrated. You see Montreal, they've come back crashing down to earth. Edmonton, they live and die with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and that's just how they are. Their goaltending's not going to be as good as the season gets into the second half. And then there's the Calgary Flames, who've been their own kind of mess this year. Why can't the Canucks pull this off in this division? It can totally happen.
You're making one huge assumption right now, that the Vancouver Canucks have arrived. I'm telling you, 4 out of 5 games isn't much. A 3-game winning streak isn't much. This is a long season, and unfortunately for the Canucks, the first half of that season, they flushed down the toilet.
Well, they've also got Elias Pettersson coming back. They've been winning games without their top star, Randip. You're forgetting a lot of the elements that made this Canucks team pretty good last year, and it's starting to come back.
They gave the rest of the division a head start, and I don't think they can recover from it. Let's see.
Yeah, we will see. You can let us know in the comments what you think. Is it a good take or a deep reach? Can the Canucks still make the playoffs? Let us know. Also, like and subscribe. We'll be back with another edition of Good Take or Deep Reach.